This information is going to determine whether you repeat 2020 or you bridge across and make sure 2021 is your absolute best year. Happy New Year's, everybody, from myself, Joseph Drolshagen, and my friend Stickman here. And I want to make sure, I want to go into this year helping anybody and everybody I can make sure this year rocks, that 2021 rocks, regardless of the circumstances around us. So I brought my Stickman friend here so I can walk through a couple things with you tonight. And I just want to lay out this process. So many people I talk to talk about how 2021 better be a better year than 2020. 2021 has to be a better year than 2020. And I'll ask them, what are you doing to make sure of that? And there's nothing that they're doing other than using the words. And that's great. I talk a lot about, the words we speak, the thoughts we entertain. That's great. But we have to take an action into that. We have to take an action into bringing that to life. And I'm so passionate about what I do. All the works that I do is helping people to find their purpose or hone their purpose and live that purpose with passion. So I'm going to be doing some myth busting in the upcoming days here as far as some of the things that we're told we should do that just don't work no matter what. And I'll tell you, I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars following programs, following mentors, following coaches that all in the name of trying to get me to achieve and get to the place where they are. So often, we spend our effort and our time and our money and our finances trying to get to a place where somebody else is because we want that to be where we want to be. But that doesn't work. And I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars and decades to understand the best I can do is find my path, to find my purpose and move into living that purpose. And that's all the works that I do. I don't herd hundreds of people through my groups for finances and things like that. I work with my clients one-on-one. I work with the business people I work with one-on-one. Whatever I do, it's tailored specifically for that unique individual. So I do want to give you a model of something that I use that helps to explain this a little better. And like I said, it's my Stickman right here. And we have a conscious mind. And I know I've been through this before, but stick with me. We have a conscious mind. That's whatever the words we use, the thoughts we entertain, wherever we place our attention is in the conscious mind. And then we have a subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind, it just absorbs whatever the conscious mind is focused on. So the subconscious mind doesn't determine good or bad, right or wrong, fair or unfair, that you want or don't want. It's just focused on whatever the conscious mind is focused on. And then the subconscious mind uses the body to carry out those actions. And that's why some people live it with, in their passion and they just love what they do, their relationships. It seems like life is just handed to them on a silver platter. And other people continue to struggle in areas, one or multiple areas of their life, their health and their well-being, their relationships, their vocation, their time and their money freedom. And it seems like no matter what they do, they can't put in enough effort to get the results that they want. It drives right back up to that conscious mind. So then the body, it carries out those actions. Now we live one of two ways. A lot of people, especially 2021, live with fear, doubt, and worry. They live with negative thinking. They live with those worry thoughts. The thoughts of like, well, what if I run out of money? What if I get fired? What if this? What if, and they go to town on that. Which then puts us in a mode of fear where we live in a fear-based place. And which initiates anxiety. And maybe you have felt or are feeling some level of anxiety. And I'll tell you, if you are, I want to just look right at you and tell you, you do not have to live that way. The more we live in fear, the more we focus on what could go wrong, the more we focus on those sides of things, the more anxiety we're going to have as a natural part of our process. And then as we get into anxiety, you start pulling away from things. We start procrastinating. We start not taking actions that would lead to those changes that we want to experience. And ultimately, down that spiral comes to a depression, a level of depression. A lot of clients I work with, when we meet are on anxiety, depression medication and such, and it's because of living in that downward spiral. And ultimately, it's living a ease. The body is in dis-ease. The mind, body, and spirit are living in dis-ease. The other way to live, when we lean into, learn, when we study, we understand, we start getting into that positive thinking side of things. It's the total difference between living by knowledge and living by ignorance. And when I say ignorance, all I mean is lack of knowledge. When we get into that fear, doubt, worry, negative thinking place, we end up creating more and more and more of that, and it sucks us into it. And so we don't get to lean into the knowledge side. We don't get to reach out into that. This is the difference between the wealthiest 1% of the people live on this side here, on the knowledge side, and the masses live by the ignorance. They live by those feelings of fear, doubt, and worry. As we go down the side of the knowledge side here, we live by faith instead of fear. We start choosing faith. We start stepping out in faith instead of fear. We start looking at well-being, living in calmness. You know, two of my favorite words for in 2021 is I am going to live calm and confident in all areas, in all ways. And then we start taking actions instead of procrastinating. You know, when you look at people who we consider wealthy, that 1% of the wealthiest people, and when I say that, I mean wealth in all areas of life, health and well-being, relationships, vocation, time and money, freedom. In order to truly be healthy or wealthy, all of those areas have to be in sync with that. And when you look at it, some people, it seems like they just take a small little action and get a huge outcome from that. Where other people, you know, feel like they're working harder and trying harder and harder and harder and harder, and they don't get any outcome from that. That's exactly what I'm talking about down both sides of this here today. And then as they take actions, oh, lost my cursor. As they take actions, it happens with acceleration. They start seeing greater results. They start seeing results quicker showing up in their life. And ultimately, the body, mind, and spirit are living at ease. Now, Wallace Wattles has a quote that I love. Sorry. He says, thinking is the hardest work in the world. And that's why most people don't do it. And I always kind of laugh about that quote. But if you look at that quote and think about it, why would anybody in their right mind ever to choose to live down this lane? Down this lane of fear, doubt, and worry. Versus living in this area. And it does lead down to not thinking. It does lead down to not owning the powers that we have within us of our thinking, the powers of creation based on our thinking. Now, I've experienced both sides of this, just like a lot of other people, most other people have. My whole goal is to help people shift from this ignorant side over into this knowledge side and start applying more of that into their life in 2021. And I'm doing that through programs I offer. I'm doing that through free webinars. I'm doing that through the lives that I'm doing. And I'm doing it through conversations. So I put a link in here tonight. You know, so many people will call me up and they'll say, I'd like to talk, but I don't have money. I don't give a damn about money. If there's something holding you up from going into 2021 with it freaking rocking, then I'd like to hear from you. And I'd like to talk to you. And I'd like to see if I can lean into you and help you with some tools that can help you moving forward in your life. That you can help start making that shift out of that fear, doubt, worry, anxiety, depression, procrastination, all of that stuff. And start shifting it over into this right here. That's your power zone. That's where life gets easier. It's where life gets more fulfilling. That's what I want to help people do. I want to help people identify or hone their purpose and then live it with passion. Live it with excitement. And I'll tell you why I am so passionate about what I do. Because I know each time one of us goes in and taps into our unique talents, our unique gifts, and we bring that outwardly, that the entire world is shifted. The entire world is impacted by that. And my whole purpose in my life is to help people, to inspire, motivate, and lead people to living better lives. People just like you. So if you have something that's holding you up, if you have something and you're stuck on that left side of this, let me just say this. It's not your fault. You didn't choose to do that. Nobody choose to live in fear, doubt, worry. Nobody choose to live in lack of any type. It's not your fault. We don't sign up for the conditioning that we receive growing up. And even the people that taught it to us, it's not their fault because they were doing the best they could do. But having, again, knowledge, having knowledge of what's going on, having knowledge that there's a better pathway is your choice, whether you step into that or not. I put a link in here. You can schedule a 45-minute conversation with me. I won't keep this up forever, but you can schedule a 45-minute conversation with me. And you and I can get on a one-on-one call and get laser focus into what's holding you back and what's possible for you. And then give you some tools that can help you start moving and accelerating in that direction. So I'm so excited about 2021. I'm so excited about continuing to give this information and share it. So if this hit you at all, if this made sense to you at all, please help me expand my vision by sharing this, liking it, leaving comments to it. Happy New Year. God bless. And I'm so looking forward to getting to know you better throughout this new year.